advertisers.
North Dakota State Senator Joe Miller pleads guilty to a drunk driving charge. He joins us live tonight via Skype. Senator Miller, thanks so much for joining us. I want to create some context here for people that maybe haven't followed the story as closely. Basically, you were out one day, you had a couple beers from what it sounds like. It's 2:30 at night, you've been drinking, you get in your car, you got an open container, you're speeding, and you're a state senator. What were you thinking?
I wasn't thinking. That's the problem.
So
I was at an event and I had a few drinks. I had too many. I got in my car and drove home, and just it was a very regrettable decision. And I wish I hadn't made it.
So I think the question then that begs, Joe, because you just said, hey, Chris, I wasn't thinking. So again, you're an elected official, a state senator. You just said, hey, Chris, I wasn't thinking. Why not then just resign? Why continue as a state senator?
Well, I think it's important that I fulfill my term of office. I signed up to do 4 years, was elected to do that. I have a duty. I think I could still be an effective legislator. I'm terribly sorry for what happened, and I feel for putting my constituents in this position and my supporters. But it's I think it's more damaging for me to resign simply because I think it sends the wrong message that I'm just giving up, and I don't want to give up simply because things got tough.
But this is your second offense, so help me understand how about you resigning? Because I think a lot of people interpret it as, hey, you know what? This guy bucked up. He's being a man. He's taking accountability for what he did. How does you resigning send the wrong message?
Well, I don't want to resign simply because I'm getting this pressure and because I feel poorly because of this spilling out in the media. I mean, this is very embarrassing for me, and I don't enjoy this. I don't enjoy talking about this. I think from what I'm hearing from my constituents and my supporters that have been talking to me, they really feel that I need to finish my term and that I have their support. So I'm going to continue on.
And I do want to acknowledge it, Joe. I think a lot of people would easily just, kind of go underneath their bed, if you will, and hide from this thing. You've been on the radio. You're coming on the show tonight. So I appreciate at least taking it head on. A couple of things I want to get to. There is a word being thrown around that I want you to answer specifically. Now, during the session, you voted obviously for tougher DUI laws. You also are pro-life. You voted for more strict laws on abortions to save life, and yet you've got a 0.13 blood alcohol content. A lot of people are saying, man, what is this guy doing going out there being pro-life and that putting other people's lives at risk while driving under the influence? The word that people are using is he's a hypocrite. Are you a hypocrite?
Well, I certainly did something very hypocritical, and I think we all can be hypocrites from time to time. You can call me a hypocrite if you wish. I feel that being pro-life is it's not only a spiritual thing, it's who I am. I believe very firmly that abortion's wrong, always have. And simply because I made a poor decision, I don't think that needs to change who I am. And it's important that people don't drink and drive, and hopefully I can serve a little bit of as an example for people to sit back and think about what they're doing before they go out for the evening or have a few drinks with their buddies. Take it very seriously and plan out your evening accordingly, and just try and be more responsible, something that I wasn't.
So let me ask you this. In North Dakota, we've got the highest death rate from DUIs more than any other state in the nation. You just said, hey, Chris, maybe I can be an example for people. I want to get you on record tonight. Will you head into the 2015 session and lead to have more strict DUI laws on the books at the end of the 2015 session?
I probably will not be a champion for changing the DUI laws. That is not something that I feel I have the expertise to do. If somebody comes to proposal and there's something that I can offer to be a maybe an expert witness, if you want to call it. I'll certainly offer my services and my experiences. I think we did a pretty good job of toughening up the DUI laws this last session. We need to first see how people react to those and how they affect things before we think about changing what we just did.
Would the new DUI laws have stopped you from going out back in June?
I don't think so.
So then, what do you mean? If you just said, hey, we strengthened them, it's going to change people's habits, and you just said as a state senator, it probably wouldn't change yours. Why would it change anyone else's?
Well, obviously it's changing my habits now. I made a bad decision that night, and I can't correct that. If there was something as simple as a law in my way that would have changed my mind, I would have probably made a better decision that night, but I wasn't thinking about the law. I was thinking about my condition before I got in my car. I knew better that I shouldn't have been driving, but yet I did. And
Senator, I got two other things I want to cover with you. Earlier today on the Jared Thomas radio show up in Grand Forks, Senator Max Schneider was on, and he said this, if we can bring up this graphic, and I'll read it out loud for you, Senator. He basically said, look, this legislative session, one of the issues we dealt with was the epidemic of drunk driving we have in North Dakota. For a legislator to engage in that sort of criminal behavior is what he said, and that sort of criminal behavior after we've had that sort of debate, I think he should resign. Now, this is your colleague, Senate Minority Leader Max Schneider. What would you say to that comment from him?
That's perfectly fine for him to have that opinion. It's probably something that I need to continue to wrestle with, but I've thought about this at length for the last month. If you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I probably was going to read it. But I think it's important for me to finish this term of office. I think that sends a better message to people that when the going gets tough, you don't just simply quit. You got to get through it and hopefully become a better person for it. That's my goal, and that's my hope.
All right, Senator. Again, thank you so much for coming on and answering these tough questions. One last thing I want to share with you. We took a poll earlier today at our Valley News Live Facebook page. We basically asked the question, hey, should Senator Joe Miller resign or not? I want to bring this up, and I'll share these results with you, Joe, as they come up in just a second. But again, I respect Joe for coming up here and saying, you know what, Chris, here's the deal. I've learned some lessons. Obviously, I don't plan on doing this again. Time will tell. And who knows, maybe he'll have a change of heart and will champion some of these things as well in the next upcoming session. If we've got this graphic here, here it is. So you can see, interesting, Joe, this might surprise you. So we've got 37,000 people on our Facebook page. 12 people said, hey, continue the term. 12 people said you should resign. Quickly, Joel, I got about 30 seconds. Any comment on that poll? Anything else you want to share with us as we wrap things up? I do want to give you a chance here to have the last word. Anything else you'd like to share with us or people up and down the Red River Valley?
Well, just, try and learn something that I, from my experience, take drinking and driving very seriously, understand the consequences, not only the legal cost, but the personal cost. It's very trying on a person's emotions as well as your pocketbook.
Joe, again, thanks so much for your time. And I get the sense that you learned your lesson. So, again, we'll have you back on sometime in the future. One thing I do want to share with you, because we were talking about, and Joe, thanks very much. Back in the day when I was playing football, one of my assistant coaches was Tyrone Willingham. I don't know if you know that name or not. I used to coach at Notre Dame, University of Washington. But one of the things he always said, he said, hey, look, guys, if you ain't had it done by 12 midnight, get out of where you're at. If it hasn't happened by then, get home, because nothing good happens after midnight. And again, Joe Miller was caught obviously at 2:30 a.m. Stay with us. Much of your feedback when we come back. As always, be sure and join our conversation. You can see our website here up on this graphic. We'll be right back.